feed.
Yeah, I was. Okay, good night, everybody. Welcome to Fatherhood Think Tank. Well, you probably say, well, these guys are kind of late tonight. That's because your host made an error, and we was live on Facebook, Fatherhood Think Tank live on Facebook, but we're live back on YouTube. So like, share, subscribe to our page. Tonight's topic is don't let your mistakes become your lifestyle. I'm Ron Osborne Williams. I'm a father, and I'm going to get it started. Letting the fathers introduce themselves so we can get on to our topic for tonight.
Okay, I'll start off. Larry Jordan, good evening, gentlemen. Father 2, grandfather 1. I'm not going to say anything, Brother Gaspard. I'm going to leave you alone.
Thank you, Brother LJ. Appreciate that. My name is Johnny Gaspard, father of 2 young adults, a 24-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son, and just excited to be here tonight.
Good evening, everybody. J. Rob Menard, father of 2. Son just turned 20, not a few days ago. So I'm happy about that. Daughter, and that's it.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 3 young women, 4 young men, and 1 granddaughter. And it's always a pleasure to be here.
I guess my name is Rogel, right? I'm a father of 2. I had a son just turned 15. I have a stepdaughter. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hold on. Rogel.
Yes, sir.
You see who on the screen with you?
I see you with that nice towel.
You realize who I am, right?
No, I don't. That's what I can't really see.
Rogel, I'm the attorney handling your siblings, your daddy estate matter.
No. No.
Listen, y'all.
Why world, huh?
How you
Listen,
doing?
listen,
Yeah,
y'all.
man.
Let me tell y'all, right?
I didn't know who the hell you was. Hey,
I spoke
was
to
you
this
here the
man.
last time I was here?
Go ahead.
No, he wasn't here.
Was you here?
He wasn't here
Oh,
last.
okay.
I wasn't on.
All right.
Listen, I just spoke to this
Positive
man.
minds think alike.
Clearly.
Positive minds think alike, man.
I'm gonna let y'all run off, but it's too funny to be seeing your face. Y'all go ahead, brothers. Be blessed.
Donald Jones, father of 2 teenagers.
Hey, Donald, you done upgraded, huh? You just a father now. You ain't divorced anymore?
Oh, no, I'm not divorced, and I am divorced, and I am soon to be engaged. Thank you very much.
Hallelujah, my brother.
Congratulations, brother.
Gaspar, I forgot. Gaspar wasn't here when you made your transition.
Hallelujah.
Listen, I missed the whole lot, man. I missed the whole lot.
Yeah, you missed a lot yesterday. That's cool. I don't know what happened though.
Where Rohan at?
Rohan muted.
Rohan, you're on mute.
Yeah, good evening, fathers. My name is Rohan Rodok, and I'm a father of 2 young ladies, 18 actually, 16. And as I always say, it's great coming to this program and learning knowledge and sharing knowledge amongst fathers. Thank you.
I guess I'm the last piece of the puzzle. My name is Justin. I'm a father of 5. I have 3 girls and 2 boys. And as always, I'm here to enjoy the time with you gentlemen.
What's up, Jay?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Ron. Jay wet. Unless Fred, you gonna jump in and say something?
Yeah, I think so.
Put it together for the 3. Let's start.
Is that everybody? Did Nicholas go?
Oh no, I didn't. So hey guys, shout out to all you guys. Not a father, but I just appreciate your talks and I just appreciate the conversation. So I just like to, weekly come in and just chop it up.
Don't worry. Let me say this, brother. To every person that I talk to now, you're gonna be stronger for these conversations. Listen, I'm telling you, every man that I knew who wasn't a father, who became a father, who had these conversations, or who listened to these, almost felt like they had won a lottery ticket because they knew everything to do before they do it. So you get to learn from all of us what to do and not to do before you had that child. And trust me, brother, it will save you money, time, anguish,
and your freedom.
Hey, right, say it right. And your freedom.
The freedom.
And your freedom. That's right. Matter of fact, that takes us right into what our topic is. What we're trying to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're talking about not letting don't let your mistake become your lifestyle. And that can be perceived in so many ways. And I'm gonna say the first one, and then I'm gonna let people jump in there and figure out what they want. But the first one is, and I feel like I might even been victim to this, right? Sometimes when we may have a child out of wedlock, then we feel like a wedlocker. And so we might start feeling comfortable. That mistake makes us sometimes maybe feel comfortable to be so loose that we end up maybe have some more kids out of wedlock, when that may not have been what we wanted to do at all. But we're saying, like, we as men, sometimes we say, oh hell, I already did it. So let me just keep on doing it and down with the rest. And I think at some point, for us to be able to evaluate it and manage it, I know for myself, strongly thinking of prior to my child's birth, I had a perfect idea. I had spent 40 years of my life planning on how I was going to have my child, how I was going to be with my wife for a number of years, and then we were going to have children, and she was going to be financially stable, based on me providing a certain income, and we were going to be partners who had spent so much time together that now we were bringing another life into this world, and we were going to, decide if we were going to have a next one. We're going to do it based on our economics and what we had at the time. And then what happened? That didn't happen. I got the text message with the picture of the pregnancy test saying you're going to be a daddy. And I was like, who going to be a daddy? Because that wasn't nowhere in my atmosphere at that time. And it's rough because the person I was with couldn't have children. So we were just talking about how all the things we were going to do. And then this child came from out of nights of sorrow, nights of passion, whatever whatever thing you want to call it, it happens. And so the idea thing is, how do you not make that where many, and I know of young men who have said it, young fathers, even old fathers say, F it, man, I'm just about to I don't care no more. And next thing you know, they got 13, almost got 13 kids. Every woman they doing it with, they blasting. They shooting up the club, at every club. And at this point, it's almost don't care, because I don't know if it's true. Maybe Johnny could tell us, but I was on some show or something, and they said after you have 10 kids, you don't pay child support no more.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. That's right.
I knew that couldn't sound right. So somebody he was trying to have 10 kids, so he wouldn't have child support. And I said, bro, that don't sound right. It sounds like you're gonna have maybe the child support might be so less because you got to pay for all 10 based on your income.
Correct.
But you still gonna have child support, brother. Especially if you're not with any of the moms and you ain't worked out no schedule
He-
plan.
That guy right there. Hey, I gotta raise my hand, man.
No, you
You can
good.
hear
Go
me?
ahead, Ron.
Oh, okay, yeah. That guy who want to have 10 kids, he might have some more underlying issues he need to take care of, man.
True.
What you gonna have 10 kids for and you can't take care of?
That's right.
Well, maybe
Like,
confused.
why even think like that? So that means it's something else going on with the brother. You just want to just have kids everywhere? You don't got no money like that.
Sometimes we confuse maybe confuse having 10 kids with actually having $10. Maybe they're like, no, if you have 10 kids, you gotta have 10 for a check. It may be confused
man.
with information.
Nah, he's just a fan of the Temptations. That's all. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Okay, I ain't with it.
Let me roll something with you guys. We're looking at $32.4 billion owed in child support. I like
How much, Rohan?
32.4 billion is owed in child support. Most men will not get their social security. It will be taken from their social security. The biggest issue we have here with child support is that this is numbers that I'm talking to you about, but most times the kids don't get the care. They have the highest rate of abuse, and their teeth is not being taken care of. So child support needs to be modified, meaning that someone needs to call and say, how's the child doing in school? Has the child been to the dentist? A lot of things right now needs to be changed to improve the future of our kids. These are numbers that I'm talking about, and someone is getting paid. Because I always say it, I'm a numbers guy. So these are a lot of money, and if I'm right, this number will only go up. So food for thought.
That's a good point about the teeth not getting fixed, Rohan. I ain't think about that till you just
Yes, in Florida we have a high case of children using the emergency rooms for dental.
Interesting. This point what Ryan shared, which makes sense, but what Ryan shared and what you just shared in reference to making a mistake, a lot of times I'll use the as he said, don't let your mistake become your lifestyle. As Ron said, they oftentimes just get to the point where they don't care anymore. And oftentimes when they allow their mistake to become the lifestyle is due to their own personal issues, as both Rajel pointed out and Trey did, that, they may come from a situation where their father wasn't necessarily involved. So their mindset is, hey, I can shoot him up, leave him everywhere. It's not a big deal. It may not become that for me. And sadly, that's the mindset that they may choose to follow. And the goal of programs such as this and us as men in our communities is to hopefully that we're talking about a young man making that choice and not an old father making that choice, so that we can then hopefully at some point interject in his life. And those are situations where you just got to pray that God sends somebody to talk some sense into them at some point to share. Because you would sit down and say, Lightborn, but how you gonna tell me I can't have all these kids when you got 7 of them? Well, let me tell you about my tribe and how I came about getting this tribe and how I learned as a man what it takes to become a father. So I think those are things that, we have to be willing to share our situation, because we encounter a lot of people and sometimes we just don't talk about where our situation was. Because for whatever reason, we don't think is that important. But I think if we are willing to share our situation, a lot of times we can help a lot of brothers not allow that mistake to become their lifestyle.
But I'm going to go ahead, since you threw my name out there, trying to get asked about. As I'm going to speak from a husband standpoint, where this issue hits me at and make me do some soul searching is, I think about how I strive, right? How I strive as a husband to love my wife. I couldn't have matter of fact, I'm sure that God couldn't bless me with a better wife than the wife I have. But so I strive to love my wife, right? While at the same time, I struggle with the lust in my life. You understand? And so while I'm striving to love my wife and I'm struggling with the lust of my wife, then you understand this is where sometimes that if you succumb to the struggle, then with that mistake, you understand, can overshadow the very ministry of your marriage. You understand? And so talking about this, just get it out to me, because I don't want people to see, and me and my wife, we have a very happy marriage. I think we happy even when we mad at each other. But the fact of the matter is, she knows coming in. Understand? My struggle was on the table when we were dating. You understand? And so I understood that more than this union being matrimony, I understood that being with my wife was actually therapy. It was nothing that was just a luxury about this. There's nothing luxury about any relationships that you're in, but particularly and specifically with my marriage. So even my marriage served a very pivotal purpose in my life, because again, I'm like, okay, it may be the norm of society, but you understand, it never became a norm for me because I'm not in the habit of hurting people. You understand? Be it emotionally or physically. So if you think that it's bad to hurt a woman physically, but it's good to hurt, or you're okay hurting her emotionally, abuse is still abuse. And I think sometimes we don't really distinguish between the two. I'm like, man, if you're an abusive person, you're an abusive person. If you're going around, you may not be going around beating on women, but if you're going around breaking hearts, it's still exactly the same abuse that we cripple and abuse our society with. So it's never okay, you understand, to hurt anybody, let alone the women that bear your children, because again, broken women give birth to broken children. So this is just one of the different things I'm talking about.
Their children may not even get here because they break inside.
Correct. Yeah.
There's a big factor that we need to remember, that, you know, and again, I can say that, you know, my disappointment with having a child, not wanting a child, I was wrong in the attitude I had when my child was being born with the mother. Because I didn't want to. This is not what I felt like, hey, you're trying to make me do something I didn't want. But you have to also learn that, hey, how dangerous it is, because your energy that you push towards that mother can jeopardize not only her, but as well as your child. And a lot of times we're not thinking of that. We are thinking about ourselves and what we have lost and what we're not going to have, and how I'm not going to have it the way I want to have it. But it's important to know that just like every other mammal and being, the men have to protect the women during childbirth.
Yes.
And if they're not going to be protecting them during childbirth, the child and that woman is in jeopardy.
But to chime in on this though. Go ahead, Rob.
I was going to quickly say, I think you said something very important there when you were speaking, Ron, and I think, you know, and it made me think of this. Sometimes we take that brokenness that we have, right? Because that could be what our issue is, and that could be our mistake. And the mistake is not learning to fix yourself or work on yourself and carrying that same brokenness to every single relationship and blaming it on the other person on the other end. When it can be, sometimes it's yourself, and not recognizing it's yourself, you continue to wonder why everyone's treating me a certain way, or why am I getting what, you know, how can I say it? You're actually getting what you put out, but you don't realize what you're putting out is so negative because you're moving with the brokenness into every single situation. And that could be whether it's a relationship between you and your spouse, you and your friends. You're still bringing that same character and that same brokenness, and you're wondering why everyone's treating you a certain way. So you start to blame the world rather than looking at yourself to see what it is that I need to change.
J. Rob, you're so right about that though, bro. But to get back to Lionel's point, we're not recognizing as men the difference between love and lust. That's how we leave a trail of broken hearts. Because when we're not loving ourselves properly for who we are, we haven't been shown how to properly love ourselves, which most young boys don't get it, because it's always shut up, don't cry, you ain't a girl, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. We get to be at a point when we become teenagers, and then men that don't know how to express ourselves properly with all the emotions that we're processing through our lives. Because who talking to somebody about feeling like crying about something that happened outside of a game? or outside of any kind of sport that our people feel like we should go towards because this is going to bring money back to you. So like it's going to fix your heart and fix your emotions. It's not, because we always see the fact where we get to a point in our lives where it's like, okay, I figured this out. I did this physically. I did this monetarily. But what do I do with these feelings that I have that I can't express? And I'm scared to express because I don't know how it's going to be received. Or you want to deal with someone where, just like Lionel said, he's in a very happy marriage because actually his wife is his therapist, just like he's his wife therapist. And they go to God for that. They're in between each other and they became best friends. But what happens when you got somebody that don't do nothing but pound on you like you got at home or in the streets? What happens when you don't have or don't know how to go to these outlets and say, you know what? I really, really need help because I don't know how to express myself properly. And it keeps coming out of anger, or it comes out with me dealing with another woman. Okay, I got another baby. So what? I make money because I'm out in the streets, but I still don't know how to experience exactly what love is and what I'm doing to these people. So that's why, going to J. Rob's point, these same people or these different people that these guys tend to deal with, they notice the same things in these other people, but they don't notice those traits in themselves. But like my wife, soon-to-be wife say, what happens when I pull a you on you? How you gonna deal with it? You understand what I'm saying?
I hear that.
Straight up.
Good point. Pull a you on
I
you.
got something to say with him.
I like that.
And gentlemen, that word love, I've always said this before. Love has different meaning to different people. You know, love. I was brought up that love. You should take care of an egg. You should make it crack. You should cherish love. But many people look at love differently, and those and I like what what's again? He just said it just now. Lionel said you have to communicate and understand each other's love. Have that communication goes a far way. Whether you agree or disagree, that communication, I believe, does help in every single relationship that you have in life.
Jay, you was gonna say
Hey,
something?
yeah, I was gonna say something about the brother who just spoke before the Jamaican brother spoke. When he said that about help. About help, yeah. What I learned about help for people who like we need to help ourselves and stuff like that, help is not for people who need it. Help is for people who want it. If the guys gotta reach out. You understand? Like everybody need help, but everybody don't want it. You know what I'm saying? And you show you don't want it by you're not taking the actions to change things. That's the answer for that one question. The other thing was that it's what y'all doing right here is a beautiful thing. He who wants help will be in this window that I'm in right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Hear that.
And we as men, right? We see other young guys like the young guy that's on here now, and other young guys in the street. If you got an opportunity to reach out to them, reach out to them. Because I know a lot of young guys. I'm just gonna be factual with me. A lot of dudes scared to talk to these young niggas and these young dudes too, because they be stupid. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like you can't live like that. You know, if you could get a chance to talk to somebody, you talk to them and try to help. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm here, for help. You know, and I need it, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? So I come here. And this was, so that's what I was saying about the brother. If you see a brother slipping, help him. But them niggas don't want no help. Show them by example, man. Get from around them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say it again. I love what y'all doing here, man. That helped me out a lot the last time I was in here, man. You know what I'm saying? So I worry about the people who want the help. I don't really worry about the ones who don't need it, man. Who ain't trying to get it.
All right, good point.
But you know what, also too, and don't take and I think sometimes we have to assess ourselves correctly, because I think as fathers, statistically, it put us more at a deficit than an asset. But I can tell you factually that any father that's in the life of his child is doing far more telling what they're showing every time you interact with that child. Every time you show, literally every time you show up, you understand? It shows off it shows the statistic that is wrong. And so I can tell you for just about even every hood we grew up in, I can almost pinpoint every father that was there and how that father being there ministered to my life. You understand? And I think every father on here got that same experience. And so even if we didn't have a father in our lives, how that father being there for our neighbor's child or whoever, our friends or whatever, always served as a surrogate example to us that probably actually shaped the type of fathers that we are. Even if we say we ain't have no point of reference, I'm like, that's not actually always true. Because you can have a vicarious point of reference just simply on how the type of father your neighbor was when you were growing up. And so don't always disregard the experiences and examples, exposure of fathers you had in your life just to justify an argument of not having or not being a father in the lives of your child. So that's just an excuse. And sometimes we'll use the excuse to just to disregard the experience.
Hey, what about the young guy that's here? He don't got no questions or nothing?
Oh, you talking about Jay? Oh, no, Jay know how to jump in. Our Gen Z. Oh, Jay know his business now. Jay, you can jump in anytime.
Okay.
Jay got 5 of them. Sometimes he be wondering how many it is. He ain't quite sure, but he got.
Oh yeah, Jay about his business. Don't sleep on Jay. He no slacker. When he ready, he get in.
No, but the whole mistake and gentlemen, all y'all made such awesome points. I mean, because again, those things allow you to, if you don't have either a goal or a mission or a direction to continue to let that mistake become, your lifestyle. Like Ron said, he had a goal. He had I guess a dream of what it would be like. And even though he fell short of that, I think that dream and that goal was still so important to him that it didn't allow him to necessarily say, I'm gonna just go do what I want to do with whomever I want to do it with. I'm still gonna seek that goal, that dream. Even if it never manifests itself in this situation here, that's still my desire. And I think that ultimately comes from people exposing themselves or him wanting something different than what he experienced or any of us. So I just think that at the end of the day, whatever, and the mistake of the fatherhood part becoming a lifestyle, I know this could, as Ron said, it could run into so many things. It don't necessarily have to be the father having children or whatever the case. It could just be in general, making a bad choice today. And one thing I tell a lot of my clients, they allow a temporary situation to become a permanent resolution. And so many of them have made choices in a temporary situation that impacted their life forever. A good friend of mine, he was going through a difficult financial thing when we were younger. And I remember him getting caught up with the feds. And the next thing you know, he lost his great job at immigration and customs. And now he a convicted felon. He can't even get a job, working in somebody's grocery store, sadly, unless he bagging, because he has this on his record. So he allowed a temporary situation of his financial situation to make him make a permanent decision. And I think a lot of times those mistakes, whatever that may be, could become your lifestyle because of that one choice or what you decide to do once you make that mistake and how you change.
What's simple? When it comes to fatherhood, one of the biggest simple mistakes that not most fathers, but some fathers make is, and it becomes a lifestyle, and this is how easy it can be to make this mistake, how your mistake can become a lifestyle. Simply by picking up your child the first time you said you're gonna pick them up. Literally. And most people don't believe it. I'm like, trust me when I tell you, the first time you said that you were gonna pick up your child and you didn't, we become the last time. So how you first treat your child, that first pickup, is how you're gonna treat that last pickup. Yeah. And most fathers end up not being in the lives of their child is because they failed at the first pickup, you understand, and never succeed at the last pickup. And next thing you know, when you're supposed to pick that child up when they was 1 year old, now they're 21 years old, and you was never even successful in accomplishing that one pickup because you always, you understand, value the excuse over the experience. The excuse is whatever I'm used to doing, I know what that's going to be like. But the experience is I ain't never really had my child before, so I don't know what that's going to be like. And most people lean more, or usually choose what they know versus what they don't know. And a lot of times, a lot of fathers are making mistakes of not picking up that child. And next thing you know, that promise to pick them up at 1 year old actually turned into 21-year-old, and they still at that same decision that they just don't have the guts to make.
Well,
lot
you know,
of
one,
rapping about
it's
it in songs.
consistency. I'm sorry, guys. You were saying something?
No, I said that a lot of them end up rapping about it in songs. Like you rap about it. A lot of artists,
Right.
Exactly. And I think it plays to what you're saying, like when we talk about that, it's consistency. If we're not giving that consistency from the beginning, we're gonna be inconsistent throughout the whole period. And what happens is when you start to get complacent, like Lightborn was saying, when you start to get complacent with the fact that I did it once, you know what? It's all right. 1 turns to 2, turns to 5, turns to 20, turns to 100 real quick without you realizing it. But while you're sitting there making the excuses like Lightborn is saying, the other person on the other end is like checking it off the box. Well, I see he's inconsistent. I see he's not trustworthy. I see I can't depend on him. I see, and then you wonder why those relationships start to dwindle, start to fade. It's because when someone tried to put some faith into you, some trust, or depended on you to be there, once you start showing someone you can't be dependent on, they're gonna start depending on you less. And then then they start to distance themselves, and then you wonder, well, why is it that you're pulling away? Well, I'm pulling away because I'm trying to save myself. A lot of people have self-preservation, and especially when it comes to a father-child relationship, self-preservation is key, because a parent that hurts you consistently is a parent that you try to stay away from, because you don't want to feel that hurt and disappointment every single time.
Yeah, I have a couple of fathers. I have a couple of fathers that don't come onto this program. I invite them all the time. I say, come on to the fatherhood program. And they'll call me and ask questions, regarding children and issues. But I say this all the time. When it comes to no child is a mistake, I want to make that clear. We tend to have plans for our lives, but sometimes God has a bigger plan for our lives. And we have to understand that. And the child may come into the world not in the manner you'd want the child to come, but you have to make every effort to try and be in that child's life. Because, I'm going to say this, every male on this program and in the world is a target. That female who, in some degree, targeted you. Because who carries the children? Many people say women, no, we carry the children. Men carry the children. And most women have to find a male to have a child. And she's going to maybe go on her phone and say, oh, you know what, let me see here. Maybe this guy, and she's going to choose a guy who's going to have a child with, most times. So, we have to understand the scenario here. We are all targets, but when it unfortunately doesn't work out, the narrative doesn't work out the way we want it to work out. But the best thing we can do is at least try and be there and try not to get into the feelings. Because as Ron always says, if you want to know about feelings, you know to answer that question, Ron. You know where to go to talk to people about feelings, right?
Wait.
Ron, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm trying to keep my point that what I want to make. I don't want to lose my point.
But Ron always says most guys in the penitentiary will tell about feelings. So
I hear that. Okay.
Yeah, well, because see, you about to make me lose my point.
Sorry, man.
You pulling me into something else. Because I wanted to come back to what we were talking about, because I think it's very important. And it's being said, and I think Gene made I believe Gene was making the point to say that, hey, and even you, Rohan, that these are not, no child is a mistake, and we have to kind of own it up, and we need to be responsible for it and take accountability. But I also know that we have to also come to grips with that. Because I think what happens is we have to be very communicative, communicate at a high level to our children's mothers about how we feel and about what we want and what we don't want. And we have to we have to make the boundaries. When we don't have a relationship and we feel some kind of way, we have to begin to set those boundaries. And the boundaries also means that you have to commit. You have to stay consistent. You can't You can't say today I don't feel like going to pick them up, because that is going to then be like, I know a lot of guys don't want to do a parenting plan. You know why they don't want to do a parenting plan? Because the parenting plan now just put everything in writing what they're responsible to do. And when they don't do it, they won't be able to argue and say, you just bothering me, you being a nag. No, it said right here that you coming to pick them up at such and such a time, you dropping off at such and such a time. And if you're not going to be balanced and keep your boundaries in this, you would rather have loosey-goosey, because loosey-goosey means that you could play, we can play back and forth. But loosey-goosey ain't gonna work in your benefit, because if the mother is a custodial parent and she has the custodial rights, you are gonna lose. You're gonna lose all day trying to play goosey-goosey and loosey-goosey. Just organize, make commitment, because guess what? If your kids know you coming to get them every Wednesday, your kids waiting on you every Wednesday. That's the problem. Here's the problem that the mother has with us. If she knows that we're supposed to come and get them, the kids know we're supposed to come and get them. Vice versa. Vice versa. The kids might say, Mom, we're supposed to go with Dad today. Now the mom might say, your dad ain't show up. Because I always think about this, and every guy I know, everybody tell the side story about sitting on the porch waiting on their dad to come. And the brother tell him, man, Dad ain't fucking coming, get out of here. Where the kids saying, no, you're gonna come. The street lights come on. They are time to eat dinner. Dad's gonna come, he's gonna show up. He ain't never showing up.
Yeah, ain't that true?
And we don't want to be you don't want to be that dad. You want to be a dad who shows up. But the only way you can be that kind of dad to show up is that you have to communicate and have some boundaries with the mom on how that's going to operate. Now, you can't do nothing if mom change on you. You can't do nothing if she switch the switch, unless you were smart enough to get that parenting plan. If you finesse enough early in the game when everything nice, when you're coming over there putting together the stroller, when you're putting together the bassinet, when you're putting all that stuff together, say, hey, let's set up a schedule, because I really want you to be able to have your time. So quit when you talk, don't talk for you, talk for her. Yeah. I want you to have your time. I want to be able, what days will be best for you? Because once that happens, you don't gotta have, even if you're not gonna have your kid, right? You have the boundary that your kid is with you, and you take the kid wherever you go. Because guess what the moms do? The moms had a kid and they take the kids wherever they want to when the kid with them. Their mom might not even see the kid the whole week. Just on Sunday, when she get off of work and she pick the kids up and they go home. But you don't know that. You know it. But guess what? The mom is accountable for her time. So you have to be accountable for your time. Even if your child gonna stay at your mama's house. Because I would say only take it to your mama's house if you want to keep seeing your child. Because you take them over somewhere else, Jack, you're gonna, they're gonna come with something. If you got your girl, just say, ask where they is. She at my mama's house. And tell your mama to say, if she call, Mom, you gotta tell that white lie, because I don't want no problem. Because Diane got the kids while I'm at work, but I don't want no trouble from out of Susie. And it's that those are kind of, listen, I'm gonna tell you, if you gotta tell some lies, those are lies you want to tell. Those are the white lies you want to be able to tell, just to keep drama down as much as possible.
Ron, you said something extremely important, because your next girlfriend or your next wife is gonna treat your kids like you treat them. You understand? Because you vicariously give her permission to do so. And so if you come in, let me tell you something about men, particularly good men. Good men can set the standard for bad women. You be like, what? I'm like, let me show you how that works. Good men can even still set the standard for bad women, which means bad women can still benefit from the residue of having a good man, and particularly having a baby from a good man. And here's why. Because when another man comes into that woman's life and he see the presence of that man taking care of that baby, he understands right away, like, hold on, wait a minute. She got a standard here. You understand? Yeah, it's a difference when, I'm gonna tell you something, it's a difference meaning a woman who have children, who have fathers taking care of their children versus who don't have fathers taking care of their children. When you meet a woman who father don't take care of their children, it makes you kind of puffed up, because you know whatever little mediocre thing you do becomes mighty, because to put something up against nothing makes it mighty, right? But when you got a woman who got a man that takes care of his child, you understand, even she still benefits from it. And he already know, man, I got to raise my game up, because this man, you understand, he got something to measure himself against. That's the difference. And you may not understand the power of being a father, but the power of being a father is so great that even that bad woman still benefits from you being a good man, even though y'all been separated 5-10 years ago. Whether she tells you or not. And guess what? Even in her family, you still the standard. Because they're gonna always remind her, man, you had a good man. You understand? And so if you think that good ain't worth nothing, don't give it up. All I'm gonna tell you, because in the long run, it's gonna be worth everything. It's gonna be the character witness of your life. So don't give up on being good, man.
Brother Lightborn is speaking facts. You heard me? Facts. Because I'm a living example of that. So with what Ron said, what y'all said, man, being present. I had a case today, y'all. And this was a good friend of mine, and I've been telling this man, my brother, put some money away for the kids every month. It don't matter if you ain't want to give it to her, just put the money in the account. Do something. Because I know when you get to court that day, they not gonna want to hear, oh, she didn't let me have the kids overnight, or I didn't know I had to spend this money. Man, when he got hit over the head today in court, right, and the judge came back with the order, all I could say is, I told you so. And it's crazy as his lawyer, because I was mad at him because he allowed the situation to be what it was. Because as much as I was trying to tell him how to be more proactive in his fatherhood, he was willing to just be okay in it and let her, oh, well, I ain't about to argue with her about getting to see the kids. I said, it's not about arguing. They're your children too. Go spend some time with your kids, because if you ain't got no overnights, my brother, when that child support time come, they gonna hit you over the head. He said, it ain't gonna be that bad. I said, all right. now he paid, and him and her got about the same income. Now he about to be paying almost $1,100 a month in child support for 2 kids. For 2 kids, right? And they have about the same income. It ain't like he making a ton more money than she is, but he about to pay because he didn't have any overnights for several years. And then I was like, so what about the money you were supposed to be giving her? Because that could knock down all of your retroactive. He said, retroactive? I said, yeah, you know, like that months you have been paying child support all that time. He's like, man, when the judge said, oh yeah, you owe her $80,000 in retroactive because you ain't paid nothing for 5 years. But I was giving them money though. Yeah, exactly. Ooh,
Yeah. He was giving them money, but what did I just say? You have to be very clear in your boundaries, because you want to play loosey-goosey. And you can't listen. You'll be better just to go and bite the bullet and say, put me on child support for the max.
Hold on, Ron.
No. Because
you say that all the time.
No. If you say put me on child support for the max, they can't come back and get no more. They already getting the max.
Yeah, they can't come back.
Can't come back and say, oh, this, that, and the other, because I ain't got no more. You getting all of it. And guess what? Good. Listen, the number one thing you need to do next is, yes, get the max, and I need my max. Your Honor, I've been paying child support the max for 4 years. The mother say the child still not comfortable to come see me yet. When the child gonna be comfortable to see me? After she out of college, me supporting her financially, she need more than my financial support. She need my emotional support. She need to know the parts of herself that she don't understand because she hasn't been around me to experience me. The parts that she having conflict with her mom all the time, that might be the same conflict that her mom seeing her, that might be me.
Correct.
That's what you need. And you need a person like Johnny to be able to say, because I said I was getting contempt of court and getting kicked out of there. You need Johnny to say.
Right, exactly. Ron, you just mentioned something about I've heard that so many times. Put yourself on child support, and I kind of okay. Who puts you on child support? I think a judge has the right to put on child support. In my case, I paid like $60 for like 2 years. And my ex put on there, oh, he needs to pay child support. But that was planned because all I did is pay the $60 and she filed a motion, he needs to pay child support. So it shows her power and control, right? So when it comes to the part about back child support, I said to the judge, said to me, how are we going to discuss back child support? All I did, I took out a bunch of papers and said, Your Honor, I've been paying back child support. I've been paying child support from the kids left the first day. So all I did, I told her $60 about 120 times or over so many months. So that judge couldn't order back child support on me. So be very careful when you put yourself on child support. I think Johnny said, the decision you make today can affect you later.
And that's literally what I was saying, that even from the perspective of the numbers, and Rohan's right, I was giving her something. So that's what I was telling him, bruh, just give her something. Because even if it's $100, $200, you're showing some consistency with the support. So she may not. When she go ask for retroactive, you like, what do you mean? I've been paying you. Well, he makes X amount of money, Yana. He could have paid me more. That's her argument now. You got me? That he could have paid more. But at least even so, the more ain't 80,000. The more is not, the more that seems, it's more something with what it can say. I can control. I can actually see myself taking care of that. Because when he saw the number, he was like, bruh, 80,000, why am I getting 80,000? And he started going on. I said, listen, I done told you, if you had done something, we wouldn't be here. Because she may not have even asked for any retroactive. She might have simply said he's been continuously providing financial support, but because he doesn't have any overnights, the current child support would be higher. And he already knew that was going to get hit because he ain't getting no overnights because the kids already said they didn't want to be by him, which again, like Ron said.
But Johnny, how
Johnny,
let me ask you this question. And I think this is where a lot of guys get frustrated and they throw their hands up and they end up making this, this mistake, their lifestyle and their habit.
Yeah.
How did he not get overnights? I mean, did he say it was inconvenient for him? Did mom make it inconvenient? How do you get to the part of not being able to get those? How do you not? And I know sometimes I know in my own situation, I don't want to force anything because I can get scared of what can be done, and then I don't get anything, and then I just end up being like put on the ban list, but paying money for nothing without ever having an opportunity to get there. So what was it? I mean, was it just the average with a lot of us? A lot of us say, hell, I don't give a, I'm saying many men take the I don't give a personality about it. They don't care.
I think that's where he got to, and he would he'd be okay with going and spending some hours with them. So he'd go meet them, they'll take him to the park, they'll go have Dave and Buster's, they'll go do something, and then he'll drop him off. So he figured that was enough. And I was like, listen, when it comes to child support, that ain't enough, bro. Because the court looks at
it could have been enough if he had a good relationship with the mom.
Correct, exactly. If he was paying some kind of child support money. But the fact that he wasn't giving a woman no kind of money, and he wasn't spending overnights with them, I think that's really what he got hit over the head with. And then when the court calculated, he ended up having to pay her attorney's fees too. Man, when I tell you, bro, it was one of those days, right, that as an attorney, I was upset. I was sad for him, but I was pissed at him. Because if he didn't have any guidance, I could definitely say, okay, I see how he got caught up. But I've been guiding this dude for the last 2.5, 3 years, and he still kept making the same choice, which was to me about him, not necessarily about the kids. His comfort zone was what's more important than him being uncomfortable with what would have been the situation with his children. And I think that's what led to him being where he is now.
Well, one thing I don't want y'all to skip over real fast. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna
go ahead.
One thing I want y'all to skip over is the fact that you could be paying child support, right? But make sure you have some type of paper trail.
Oh yeah,
that shows you're paying, right? Yeah. Because she could easily be like, well, he wasn't giving me nothing, if you don't, because a lot of times guys will pay that in cash. Well, let me give you cash. Let me give you. Do it in the form of money orders. Do it a check.
Gene, you said, and I'm gonna tell you what the realest one is.
Right.
Connect your bank with their bank.
Yep.
Have an account, then I have an account, connect with the mother name connected to it and put money into it.
That's it.
Because guess what? When you get ready to go to, when I go to the place, it's gonna show all that money. Somebody withdrew the money. It ain't just still sitting in the account. When if the bank transferred it, it wasn't sent back.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I'm gonna tell you why you can do that. But I had a situation where a father was telling me he did that. And what mom did was change the way the money you can Zelle, right? But didn't give the information to him. So now you're stuck. So I told him,
Right.
my advice to him was either you're gonna do it in a money order and send it,
Right.
some form that shows a receipt, or like Gaspar was saying, put an account, let it sit, and when it's ready, when she comes back to it, be like, here you go.
Here you go.
Yeah,
There's another thing we're leaving out too. You got to be very specific that is for child support.
yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has to say child support. Whether you cash app, and if I had cash app, I think most if they had cash app back then, I don't think most of us had half the problem. We'd have a nice credit trail. But even if you're sitting in cash app, you got to put that title on it, hit it. Child support, cash app, child support, money order, child support check. However you send it, child support. If it doesn't say child support, but guess what? It's just a loan or a gift.
Well, that's what, and that's Jay's question. That's Jay's question in the chat. What if you have the receipts, but you don't get credit for it? So Jay, I'll say, because I think that's the question that Lionel just asked, were your receipts to reflect child support? Did she say they were gifts? When you say you got receipts, but you ain't get no credit, I gotta believe either one.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, either one. See, that's another thing, Jay. You got to have a good mouthpiece. But I get you though, because everybody can't afford Johnny Gaspar, so I understand that. But,
I want to afford you. Tell me how much your price is. I can't live like this anymore. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I can't live like this anymore. Like right now, it don't matter. I'm willing to pay whatever. Honestly and truly, I done got screwed over too many times, and I need to help every last piece of help that I could possibly get. I don't even know my daughter. Sorry. Go back to the topic at hand.
We will talk definitely, but sometimes it happens that you do have the receipts, but because you didn't properly allocate those receipts to be there. But generally, as long as you have some kind of documentation showing money given to the mom, whether it be for clothes, Pampers, formula, whatever, as long as something that was given to her, even if you purchased the items and you have a receipt showing that you did this, you generally should get credit. So I don't know. Sometimes, various judges have various
you know what, Johnny?
attitudes, but I don't know.
Well, we suggest that if anything that you give, right?
Yeah.
That you should label it child. You should use the word child support.
Right.
And if it's the payment for the month, I would not give bits and pieces. If the mom says she needs stuff, you either say, I'm going to give it on the 1st, the 15th, or the 30th. And you ask her, when does she want it, the 1st, the 15th, or the 30th, and you give that full amount and say, child support payment for the month of April, child support payment for the month of May. Because when it's set up like that, it's the same way that the people down there at the Internal Revenue Service is taking it. It's the same way. So it will come in the same way. So it's important that we, be very specific, and we can't be laissez-faire. So often we're laissez-faire about things. We kind of like says, it don't matter. And then all of that stuff matters. Even if you set up the set, if you're going to set, this is the set what I'm going to have. Because when you go to the judge, if the judge see child support April, child support May, child support June, child support July, child support, he gonna say, well, madam, let me ask you a question. Well, these are child support checks of $500. So if I calculate now, he goes into the calculator, calculate 500 times 12. Well, how much more money did you need for the child outside of this a month?
And she said, well, I still needed Pampers. I still needed this. I still needed that.
It also, it didn't depend on what kind of judge you got.
Correct. And that's what I'm
Right,
saying,
right,
as well as
right.
what
Yeah,
kind of overnight you spent with the child. All of those things play its role. So that's why I tell people that even as Jay said, when you have the receipts, if you're unable to articulate what those receipts were for, or even with the receipts, when they do the overnights thing, you didn't have any. So you don't get that credit. So even with receipts, the amount that you are getting knocked off of the back amount isn't that significant, because again, you had no overnights. And overnights is light, overnights is food, overnights is water that's being used, overnights are those things. And the courts look at that as a major, major part of determining your child support amount. It's just pretty simple.
No, a quick one, Johnny. Not to talk about the case you had today. What's the difference between the married father and the unmarried father regarding overnights?
There is no difference.
Oh, okay.
There is no difference, because he was married to her.
Oh,
This
right.
is a divorce, and they've been separated for 5 years.
Oh, yeah. And
Yes.
Florida does not recognize separation.
No, they do.
See,
Said divorce though. And Johnny, you said, clear it up for him that you said divorce, because what it sounds like is he had access to get the overnights, but he didn't use it.
So again, no, part of it was he was married to her.
Right.
They separated. Okay. So upon separating, he ends up finding his friend.
Oh, okay. Now we get into the meat.
Now he's staying with his friend. So because he's staying with his friend, as Ron said, he should have said he's staying by his mama's house. But the problem is he was staying with his friend. So because he's staying with his friend, she's like, oh, my children ain't gonna be over there.
Right.
My kid, you need to get a hotel room if you want to have overnights with my kids. That was her perspective of it, right? So this is when Johnny Gaspar, the lawyer, said, let's be more aggressive and try to set something up with the court so you could get your overnight. Because I know if you don't do anything, you're going to get hit over the head because you have no overnights. The paperwork said mom had 100% of overnights with the children.
Yeah, but Johnny, I went through a similar scenario, and I tell fathers this: the mom put a certain time, and I put a certain time, and she told judge, oh, that's not true. And I told her, I said, Your Honor, do we have to go there? Sometimes you want a judge to think, because when she puts 100% of the time, you're in the hole.
Well, no. In this scenario, there was testimony. Right. You know, he didn't have the kids. It wasn't a situation where they put paperwork together. This is a situation where he never had the kids. He did not have any overnights with them. Wow. Donald said he out, brothers. But that was my thing. You know, my thing was he as Ron said, he had a very laissez-faire attitude about how he was going to spend time with the children and how he was going to take a more proactive step in being with them. And it's now costing him significant money. And that's all it is.
You know, and I'll say this, that, you know, again, I think we use this word, you know, people say, and I hear women say it often, you didn't fight for your kids, you should fight for them, right? And I think they make a very big misconception about the idea of what it means for men to fight versus what it means for men to advocate. Because fighting is a negative term for men.
Correct.
Yes.
It's not a negative term for women, because sometimes it seems that, you know, you can't visualize it sometimes. So we have to be very aggressive in the idea that we're going to advocate for certain things in reference to what we want for our kids. But one of the problems comes is that men sometimes will say, I don't want to fight. I don't want to go through this, because this almost means that I'm giving this person energy that I don't want to give to them. But we got to rethink that energy ain't about them, it's about our kids. And everything in the world is set up against us in reference to us not advocating. Because I know this, when you go into the courthouse, the judge will say, why you didn't fight for these kids? You didn't fight for your overnights. And you're going to say, what? I didn't fight for all overnights. Man, I ain't trying to go to jail and get a restraining order. So you in a catch-22. So we have to use that God-given intelligence to us as being men to think of the way to best handle the situation in a solution-oriented way. So we have to find ways, even if what I would even in the point to say, listen, I'm gonna give you a great strategy, man. If your mom is good with the person, if her mom's good with you, whatever, you know, look, when the time comes, you know, let her go, ask your mom to say, hey, let them come over. And then let your mom say, oh, I had to go something, I had to send them to their daddy house. She's not gonna come pick them up from your house. She's not gonna come and get them because she's already there. Now she might not let your mom get them again. It may be something, you never know that. But you have to do things, you have to be proactive.
I like that.
About trying to get your kid just so you can have these times. I mean, it's a shame. And I say again, we would say, well, why I got to do all that? Because you men, we men, ain't nothing gonna be. I had to tell somebody this week that they was complaining everything they got to do that. And I said, well, as a man, ain't nobody caring about what I got to do. Only person gonna make it happen is me. I can't go and call Pop. I can't call Daddy Boo. I can't call Mama Poo. Listen, they gonna say, okay, dog, you good. As I sleep on the cold city bus stop overnight.
Ron,
I just wanted to.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Larry, we ain't hear from you all day. Great head assassin, please. The floor is yours.
I'm just. I just wanted to bring up something, and all of y'all have been making some excellent points tonight. And I think that to me, the way that I was seeing things, because I don't know nearly as much as y'all do about all this, but what I was seeing is the word is maturity. It's of changing from a boy to a man. Oh, and what I mean by that is that we still have some 55-year-old boys out here. Okay? Your chronological age doesn't have anything to do with your level of maturity, you know. And we find that you find that immature people act on their feelings. Okay, they don't do things because they're mad. They trying to strike back. They'll disagree. Like this gentleman didn't listen to Johnny. You know why he didn't listen to Johnny? Because he was angry. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Nobody gonna tell me what I want to do. That's the sign of immaturity. I always say men do things. They're responsible for things when ain't nobody looking. Okay, they do what they're supposed to do, and they find a way to get things done. And I think in many cases that's what you're dealing with, in probably 90% of the cases, because the mature man, like Jay, he had receipts. Now you might not have had them all right, but I had receipts. You acting responsibly. You know, you're doing the right thing. And I think a lot of times that's what it boils down to. We get into court and get mad and want to turn over chairs and act crazy and bust up stuff. But that's what children do. Children have tantrums. You know, and I think that has a whole lot to do with it. So that's just my little spiel
Can
about
I add a little bit to what you said, Lawrence?
Sure.
Not only children, but children and women have tantrums. That's why in the court it's acceptable for women to cry, to get emotional, to do all of those things. And this is a very patriarchy mindset that the court has. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm not saying how it is, but the court sees women and children as those items. Yeah. If a man comes in and has the same emotionality as women and children, you are unstable. You might be mentally insane. No, how about I just might be emotional and may be upset because I ain't see my kid. But they're not going to see it that way because they have a stringent belief on how you should operate as a man. That's why in the court system, domestic abusers who come in, who are calm, cool, and collected, get off and never really get caught up in the domestic violence. The woman is delusional, this and that. This guy is sitting there saying, I don't, Your Honor, I have not did anything but try to take care of this woman. I provided her, I provide for our children. I think that she's just, I don't understand what the problem. I told her that our relationship is over. I'm moving on to another person. I have given her the opportunity to do this, that, and the other, blah, blah. And you'll be like, yo, I said in the court, and watch these men. They are as Casimir, and guess what? The judge say, boom, and they walk right out. Now, I've listened to what this lady says happened to him and how it happened and tried to help him. And it's true what has happened. But again, these guys have no emotions.
Yeah.
They don't show any more. They come in and they know the script that the judge and that the people in the power position want to see. Whereas us regular everyday people, we still got emotions. Man,
Yeah.
see my damn kids in 6 months.
BS. I ain't touched that yet. I ain't do nothing to her, y'all. I wasn't even over there. I came over that beer had her eyes swollen. I ain't know who hit her.
But Johnny, when you think about
Call
it,
5-0. Go ahead.
it's more, I think, with the conditioning, it's more acceptable for us to fight for our manhood and never for our fatherhood. That's the difference. And so when we acceptable, I think every Monday, what do you call it, every Monday night and Sunday night football, that's fighting for your manhood. That's acceptable. That's who you supposed to be. But how dare you? You understand? Talking about have the audacity to fight for your fatherhood. You understand? So it's amazing how we can be typecast to fight for our manhood is acceptable. Matter of fact, they give us trophies for it. You understand? Oh, we can fight for our manhood all day, but don't you dare fight for your fatherhood. And I think that's one of the greatest mistakes when it comes to distinguishing between our mistakes becoming our lifestyle. Because we be in a lifestyle of fight for our manhood and guess what? Succumb to the mistake of really never being a champion in our fatherhood.
But you know what, Lightborn, when you say that, it just brings to me just another thing that men don't have a blueprint for, right? Because no one's there leading them the way and showing them the charge on how to advocate. We're telling them to go do it, but no one's sitting there saying, this is how you do it. And until we start telling them how to do it, and they start watching us on this thing to understand how to do it and how to navigate themselves. Because a lot of things that was said tonight, even from Gaspar himself, it's a blueprint on how to act and how to advocate. And so once you start doing that and you start understanding how you have to maneuver yourself, and like Ron was saying, going in there with that charismatic appeal and allow everyone else to be what they're gonna be without it affecting who you are. You're gonna be in a better position when you walk out of that courtroom, because people are gonna be like, yo, what she said does not fit what I saw.
Right. Absolutely, Gene. Because so often what she said, we absolutely show in the court. What she said is, he yelled at me. He said this. Rohan, you remember the time I was in court with you all day? I didn't mean to be there all day. And we see some of that case, and that white guy was in there, and his whole body was red. And he was so mad because they took everything away from him. And then he started cussing and fussing outside. And then the judge called him back in and gave him some more. But he was mad probably because he probably gave her money. He probably did all of this stuff. And she went in there and bold-facedly said, no, that didn't happen. No, I didn't do it.
Oh man. And with that, go ahead. Because I was gonna wrap it up.
Real quick. Men or boys need to understand women. You know, this program is designed to empower men and to teach men to do the right thing. But men need to understand women. It's about time you go on, when you go on that Facebook or go on that on the Google, understand women. You need to understand the dynamics of women, the dynamics of that family. There are words like hypogamy. We talked about some women who go to church and she fall in love with the pastor. She have a husband at the house and she, you know what? I love that pastor, man. And you got to understand women nature or nurture in what women do. A woman will always go to the stronger male or the more educated male or the male that she feels secure with. Because most of the things women can't do by themselves. They need a male to do it. If you guys watch maybe IDTV, I don't know if you watch that stuff, most of the crimes are committed by a male. She has the ability to convince a male to do something that she wants to do. That's the power of a woman, of a female. So we need to understand women. And once you understand women, and mind you, I can't say you're going to understand every woman, but it will help you to make better choices. And whether you understand at 20, 30, 50, 60, the sooner, the better.
Like Rohan said, make sure you go on that Google and Google them. Go on that Google. I like that Google. What the? Google them.
Hey, Ron, I mean, hey, John, you back. go ahead and tie it up for us and do the wrap up because we have time.
And with all that said, my brother, that's how you stop allowing your mistakes of your lifestyle. Rob, you to close us out tonight on Fatherhood Think Tank.
Yeah, well, you know, hey, listen, this was, I think Gene already said it already. Listen, this is it's been a powerful conversation. A lot of good information to share with you and stuff you got. Again, we're going to have our meeting tomorrow night, Fathers Only. So definitely you can look in the comments or down low in the description and look on how to come on to that Zoom meeting tomorrow night. We'll continue this conversation a little bit more explicit than this is for the public. But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on the Fatherhood Think Tank. Remember, we're here again every Tuesday night, unless something happens and we miss it, but we're here every Tuesday night and Wednesday night on Zoom. Father, repeat after me. I am.
I am.
I say I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am
a man of honor.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I
I
am.
am.
I am a man of courage.
I am a
I am
man.
a man of courage.
I say I am.
I
am.
I am.
I
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Come on now, say, fathers, I said that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship
Championship fathers.
Look at Gaspar trying to go for the title. But you got it, Lionel. You took it tonight. You took it tonight.
All right, then, folks, thank you for joining us. Welcome here. You know, as we always say, we are not flexing our muscles, but we're holding our families on our backs and our children on our arms. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week on Fatherhood Think Tank.
Have a blessed evening, fam.
Peace.
All right,
Peace.
people. Y'all
All right,
take care.
y'all have